How long have you been running this club in Nebo?
I have been running this club since maybe 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
There were many people running this club before me, and I just took it
Mm-hmm.
after them.
When did you start coming there? 2019, 2018?
No, I started coming there in 2017, even
17.
maybe.
Wow,
I'm
that's
not
for.
quite sure. I don't remember as well. Um, well, I started coming there when I moved to Kaluga. I started going to the university, and then I heard about this club and I decided to come, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, so I started coming every week.
Mm-hmm. So, but since 2019, you in charge.
Yeah, kind of.
Was there a big difference, like in this transition, when you was just a member and then when you started leading the club?
For me, it wasn't like a big transition. It was kind of natural for me
Uh-huh.
because I like preparing questions, finding new topics, maybe trying to create new activities. It's fun.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. So, do you think that like when you run the club, it actually makes you like it helps you to develop your language better, or whereas when just a member, it, like there's no responsibility, you don't do anything, you basically respond to the questions.
For sure, there is more responsibility because, as I said, I have to prepare stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I don't see any improvement in my language because I believe if you run an English speaking club, you talk less than your participants because they came to speak and I just prepared everything for them.
Does it motivate you to study more when you run the club? You know, to be better. To again, there's responsibilities, and probably like in my case, for example, like I feel kind of embarrassed if I can't conduct it well, and often it just motivates me to study more and more and more. So I always have like unlimited source of motivation just because I have to run this club every week.
Actually, I study a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I am becoming a linguist and I have to find out new things about the language every day. And I do it because of my university and also because I very much enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I constantly study and I have a lot to do usually. So English speaking club is just something I come to relax. I something where this is something where I come to
Uh-huh.
relax. And yeah, I sure feel like I have to be more specialized probably in this area because people look at me as a role model in English. I feel like they do. And I feel like I should speak more distinctly. I should
Mm-hmm.
speak according to the rules because someone may feel like, oh, this person speaks Welsh, so speak, I should tell things the same way.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to create mistakes for other people who are coming to my club.
So you feel it's like kind of rest when you come there. You said
Yeah,
it's.
just a chit chat with
Uh-huh.
other people, and there are many different and very interesting ones, and I very enjoy having a conversation with them. Maybe like discovering new topics, finding out how they feel about this and that.
How do you choose topics? Like, is there some special way, or it just accidentally you just pick up something that you like to talk about and go on?
Well, I started to choose to create a topic
Mm-hmm.
since the beginning of the week, so somewhere on Monday. And I think and think about it for days, and then finally, someday it's like switch, and I know that I would like to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So it just comes naturally. And sometimes, if I can't make up any story or I can't think of any topic, I just go and search on the internet. I find out topics I like and then create some kind of question list
Mm-hmm.
or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you tell more about your experience in studying language? Like when you started and what was the reason, what motivated you, and why you decided to become a linguist?
Well, I started learning English at a very young age. I was maybe 5 years old when I heard my mother speaking. Not speaking, but probably studying. I don't actually remember. And I was like, Mom, how do I say I in English? How do I say E in English and stuff like that? And she told me those little things, and I was very interesting. And then I got like a computer game, which was kind of for studying English.
Uh-huh.
It was a game where you just pressed buttons, so you pressed some objects, and it told you that this is a bird or this is a
Uh-huh.
picture, and it was very fun for me. And then I went to school and I started studying English, and it went well. So I was like, why not study it more? But then I had a very big gap because our English teacher fell ill, and she couldn't teach us anymore. And till I don't know, till I was 14, probably I didn't study English very well, and I forgot most of the things. And then I decided that I need to pass my exams, and I started preparing. I started going to like English lessons in groups, and for me the hardest
Was
thing.
in your school or some special place,
No,
special
it was a
courses?
special place.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of an English school, but where you just study in the small groups.
Hmm.
Actually, it
How
was
many
only
people?
me and my friend.
Just two people. Okay.
Yeah, I'm from a very small town, so this was something very new to us, and I decided that I want to come. I didn't really like it because I didn't like my teacher. He was great, but not for me.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, and for me, the hardest thing was to speak. I was very afraid of making mistakes. I was very nervous while speaking, and I feel like many people do. But I knew that I had a lot of knowledge, and so I needed something which pushed me into the conversation. And then I found out about those like sites, pages on the internet where you can find your English speaking partner.
Hmm.
And so I started speaking to them. And because I kind of had a big vocabulary, and I knew a lot about grammar, it was fine for me to speak. And I found out that people don't actually care about my mistakes. And then I started being confident, and I realized that you're not a native speaker. You will make mistakes, and this is all right. It's just the process of studying. The more mistakes you make, the better you get from
Hmm.
with time, probably.
Did it take a lot of time to get from, being shy and not confident to the level where you can speak easily?
I think it took maybe 1 or 2 months, not
1 or 2
more.
months, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very quick transition, maybe
How
like few conversations, and I felt all right.
how often did you talk to these people? Like once a week, 2 times a week, every day, 5 times a day?
No, I was talking like in person using some video calls
Uh-huh.
only once a week because I didn't have much time.
But it
Uh,
was like it wasn't like teacher student. It was like free, just people who wanted to study language. You just find them and talk to them. It wasn't like teaching.
no, it wasn't teaching. I can even mention the person I talked to. It was
Mhm.
John
Mhm.
from America.
Mhm.
He is a friend of mine. We're still talking sometimes. Well, we just called each other once a week and talked for a little bit about this and that. But I was more like I talked in writing more
Mhm.
because it was easier. Like you have your phone with you, so you can just chat with
Mhm.
your kind of pen pal friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, and well, it was hard for me to talk in person. That's why I decided to call people. Kind of this, yeah.
Okay. Uh, so you started coming to the club 2017. Like, what was your age? Like, you
18. Yeah, I think it was 18.
you didn't study at university at that time yet.
I just started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you're almost like finishing the university.
I
What are you
hope.
doing in university? Can you tell me like more about this process of studying at university? What do you study there? Grammar, books, exercises?
Well, I will be translator slash interpreter
Mm-hmm.
after I graduate. And we study a lot of different things. At first, we studied like some phonetics. So we learned how to speak properly in English, not saying cover or not saying, I don't know, rod.
Mm-hmm.
Our
Rod.
road.
Rod.
Yeah.
That sounds very good.
Sounds very funny when you
Mhm.
start speaking Runglish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we started learning how to speak properly, and then we started. So, the fun fact, our teacher of phonetics told us you are not allowed to speak until we finish our phonetics course. So, for half a year, I was afraid to speak in English because I felt like I will destroy all my pronunciation. But it didn't happen. Well, it happened after I have finished studying pronunciation because when you hear a lot of different accents, a lot of different people, and I still live in Russia, I don't hear much of the English speech. So, of course, my phonetics went down a little bit, but it's still all right.
Do you listen something on the internet now? Like maybe watch some videos?
Yeah, mostly I consume information in English. Well, because there are a lot of information. There
Mhm.
is a lot of information in English, and yeah, it's easier to find, I think. So any topic you like, you can look up in English, and there will be anything about this. Actually, like Russian segment of the internet, as I know, is also very large. So for us Russian speakers, it is all right. So if we need to find something, we will.
Mhm.
But for people who don't speak Russian and don't speak English, I think it's very hard to consume some information from the internet because it's mostly English and stuff.
Do you have some groups in your university, like speaking, no, speaking groups or something like speaking clubs, or just you study only when you are at university?
Well, we don't have speaking clubs. We have discussion clubs, but they are in Russian, and they
Uh-huh.
are about some scientific topics about the language and stuff. But we have special double lessons where
Mm-hmm.
you just speak. So they are called pupur in Russia.
Pooper?
Pupur, yeah.
Is
So it's
is it?
practice of writing and speech,
Uh-huh.
something like that. And you constantly speak about something there, like reading text, discussing some information, discussing some topics, writing essays and stuff.
Uh-huh. Do you think it's an effective method to study just by reading textbooks and memorizing grammatical, formulas, whatever, or like speaking is more important? What's your opinion on
No
that?
way reading helps you to understand the language. Well, you know more words because you read a lot, but you're not actually speaking because the only way you can learn to speak is to speak. You can't read a lot of books, do a lot of exercises, and accidentally start speaking. It doesn't happen. You have to do it in complex. So
Mm-hmm.
you should both read, you should write, and at the same time start speaking. The earlier you start, the better you get. I always tell my participants of my English speaking club, that you shouldn't be afraid of starting speaking even if you know very, very little. Because even if you have, I don't know, if you know 100 words in like two, three grammatical constructions, you already can say something. And if you start speaking using these little constructions, you will master them. And after, I don't know, 100 times you said that, you will not think about, oh, this is my Russian word, I have to translate this in English, and then there is, I don't know, past simple tense, I will do this and that and I will get a sentence. No, you just get the whole sentence in your mind and you are ready to speak.
Mm-hmm. It's also like I've noticed, for example, when I speak English and make mistakes, later I think about what I said and I trying to correct it. So it's not just you start speaking, even if you make mistakes, but when you had a conversation, you kind of think about it and okay, probably next time I'll use this, word or sentence or grammatical form, and it also helps. Whereas when you try to think, when you try to prepare before, like whatever you want to say, it doesn't work as well as when you think about it afterwards.
Yeah, actually, this is a great process when you kind of look back to your speech and see what you're doing.
Hmm.
But the more important is to look at your speech in the moment of speech. For example, you understand that you made a mistake. You you will be better if you correct it right now.
Right now, you think it's important to correct right now?
It is important, but if you didn't do that, it's all right because you can do it later.
Yeah, but now we have all these technologies, right? We may record our speeches, even conversations. Right now, we're recording our conversations. Then I go home. I just okay, this was a mistake. That was a mistake. How would I ask a person a different way next time? So it helps a lot. Just listening and listening yourself. That's very important because when you speak now, I speak. I can't listen myself really.
Well, actually, you can. It just practice. Actually, this is what I'm thinking about now. I will come home. You will release our podcast, and I will be thinking about my mistakes, and I will hear it, and I will be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I should
Uh-huh.
have said that differently." So I will probably not listen to that.
Not listen.
I will.
Uh-huh.
I'm interested.
Mhm. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about grammar. Like, what
Okay.
is the way to master grammar? And for you, like, how did you learn to speak with such a good grammar as you have?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a perfect grammar, but I try. Thank you for the
Nobody,
compliment.
no, nobody is perfect.
Yeah, nobody is perfect, especially English speakers. Yeah, native English speakers because they constantly mix up things, and for them this is all right, and for us it's like, what the hell are they talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah, so when I didn't study at university, my grammar was kind of not in the greatest shape because I could mix up some things. I wasn't very um, sure with articles because it's a very hard topic. But when I started studying at the university, I had to memorize a lot of different rules of grammar, and there are more than you may think.
Well, yeah, I actually read few books on grammar, and I spent a lot of time trying to. But I do it by small amount of. I don't read grammar all the time. Just 5 minutes a day, one rule, and then you read the book during a year, and next year you take a new book. But I don't try to master all of this. So I just use one, as you said, grammatical form. I try to apply it, and then I forget. I try to apply the new form. I'm not trying to memorize them. I try just constantly learn like 5-10 minutes every day, like small rules, and apply them. But I found that memorizing actually it makes my speech weaker. And I give you just one example. There's a book, Grammar in Use by Murphy, Raymond Murphy, and there's a lesson when you need to master. It's not gerunds, but there are some verbs after which you have to use to. For example, I have not have to avoid to do something, and some verbs you can say. For example, start doing. You have to say start doing instead of start to do. If you say start to do, it's going to be incorrect. And there are like 25 verbs after which you have to use inch form if you want to use the second verb, and after which you have to use to. And I memorized them all in few days. And now whenever I try to remember how to, like, when I need to use this verb, I think, like, was this verb from that category or from this category? And it's very, like, kind of natural. The same with irregular verbs. I studied them at 2013. It's like 8 years ago. All of them, all of these popular irregular verbs. And now it's still when I need to use such verbs like, for example, fly. I remember all three forms when I need to use it in the past form. And it actually bothers me because most of other verbs, I just say it's kind of natural. I didn't master them. I just was listening, reading, and acquiring grammar in a natural way. But those words and formulas which I memorized, I always have problems with them when I speak. So I always catch myself thinking that, oh, probably I say it incorrect. Probably I need to say it in a different way. So it slows me down. But still, I'm trying to get better at it. Probably it's going to be better later.
Well, actually, you probably didn't come out to the rule where you should say big black plastic bag, but not black big plastic bag or plastic big
Yeah,
black.
I've learned that. I've
Yeah.
learned that.
Okay,
Sure.
so this is English grammar. Sometimes it's stupid, And well, you can't memorize everything. So what I would suggest to do is to find a rule as you do, read it, and then to do maybe like 3 4 exercises on that. And when you're next time listening to something, try to pick those grammatical
Mm-hmm.
forms, how you see them in the real speech. Maybe you will find out that it's not as it was mentioned in the book. And actually, this process of listening, it helps you to understand grammar more, because you memorize some things and they come to you naturally, because as you said, you have listened to them several times and now you know that people speak like this. And my speech is mostly like this. I know that people say so and they don't say
Mm-hmm.
otherwise,
Mm-hmm. So
and that's
it's
why
more,
I say something like this.
it's more like intuitive, right? It's not.
Yeah, and many people say that for them to speak, they need to know what they're going to talk about in Russian, and then they try to translate that. I understand why they do this, because it's kind of, they feel like it's easier, but it's not true. You have to think in English to
Mm-hmm.
speak in English, um, because when you start to translate things, it takes so much of mental power. Well, I'm studying as an interpreter slash translator. That's why I know how hard it is to translate something from Russian to English and back. So don't do this, please. Try to
Mm-hmm.
memorize things and say them naturally without trying to translate them.
So is it in order to speak, you have to think in English? How much time do you think in English relatively to Russian language?
It depends on what I have heard or what I have watched. For example, if I read a Russian book, if I read a Russian book, I would probably think in Russian. But if I read something in English, I would probably think in English. But when I didn't do neither of this, I would probably switch languages in my head. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I'm walking, I'm thinking about something, and at some moment I start thinking in English. Actually, I have heard about thinking in the language you try to master in 2016 maybe, and from that time I started talking to myself in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped me a lot, I guess, because well, you can't find a person who will talk to you anytime you want.
All the
But
time, yeah.
you're you're with yourself anytime you like. So you may think about, I don't know, the weather, sorry, or you may think about something you read, or you may think about music. You may just talk to yourself in your head, and it will help you to master some things.
Have you tried to talk to yourself, not in your head, but aloud, and maybe record yourself?
I do that when nobody is home, because I'm
Uh-huh.
bored and I need to talk to someone, and then the only person is I. So I talk to myself.
But how about recording? Like recording and then listening and trying to improve it just by paying attention to what you said and learn.
I did that when I mastered phonetics,
Uh-huh.
because it was very important. So this is a great thing to learn phonetics. But I don't record myself speaking because, well, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I sing, and when I sing, I record myself every time, because it helps me to see my mistakes. And I think for people who are not afraid to speak to themselves while recording, it would be a great thing to do, because it helps you to see mistakes probably and correct them.
Mm-hmm. Does singing help you to improve your accent?
It does. Well, I never had a very bad accent.
Uh-huh.
Well, English tries to say words in a flow, so every word is connected to another. In Russian, it's not. And when I hear myself singing like 6 years ago, when I didn't study English phonetics, it sounds very strange. For example, I don't know, I saw him in the street. It sounds
Mm-hmm.
like this, while it would be
Him
better
in the
to see,
street.
I saw him in the street. I saw him
Uh-huh.
in the street. Yeah, something like this.
Uh-huh. Uh, what do you think about the role of English in globalization? Like, is it going to become just one language for all people at some moment in the future, or we still have many different languages, and probably English will even disappear, and some other languages will be more popular?
Well, English is quite simple for Russians. For Russians, yeah, but not for everyone, not
Hmm.
for every country. Um, well, I don't think it will ever become the only language because we have different cultures and different cultures kind of dictate the language. And well, it is impossible to speak the only language. You can look at Germans, for example. They have one language, but they
Hmm.
have many, many dialects. It happens because their country was separated for a very long time, but they became one not like not very long ago, but long enough to have their own language, the only one. But they still speak in like Hochdeutsch,
Hmm.
in the like Deutsch of literature, and in their dialect somewhere in their small villages or cities. And you can see differences from like south part and north part. And the same happens with English. You have American English, Australian English, British English, Cockney,
Russian
all.
English.
Yeah, they say it's like Orenburski English
Hmm.
or stuff like this. Yeah, so even in one language, you have many differences.
So, but
Everyone.
now we all kind of on the internet. Like many people just spend half of their lives on the internet, and on the internet, English is kind of the most popular language. And if you live in any country, if you have an access to the internet, it's very easy to learn, and you may start using the language and even abandon your native language to some
Well,
degree. Do you believe that we are going to live in the internet like in the next 50 years most of the time?
no, I don't believe so. I'm not a futurologist. I can't say for sure what will
Uh-huh.
happen in, I don't know, 10 or 20 years. But people need like the contact. They need to be with each other. So I think this thing where you just abandon social contacts and go on the internet will never happen.
Yeah, but you will not abandon, but you may have a close circle of friends, right? And but you still like can't be all the time with them. And in the internet, when you have your phone, you may just be there all the time. Like look for information, post something on Instagram, VK,
I
whatever.
personally need like the real contact,
Uh-huh.
physical contact with the person. Otherwise, I don't feel like talking.
Can you tell me how much time do you spend on the internet on average, like every day on social networks and the internet in general?
I think a lot.
How much?
Well, 10 hours a day, maybe.
10 hours a day. Seriously?
It may happen. Well, because I watch YouTube a
Uh-huh.
lot, I listen to many things, and I need internet for that. I use Instagram. It's very time consuming, but it doesn't happen like I'm just sitting in the internet the whole day.
Yeah, just moving
Yeah,
around and
you're
using
moving
it.
around, like maybe you're reading book and there is a message from DK and you're like, okay, I should chit chat with my friend, and then you come to do anything else.
And what was like 5 years ago? How much time did you spend on the internet 5 years ago?
I have no idea. I can say now how much time I spend on the internet because we have those graphics
Uh-huh.
on our iPhones which show you how much time did you spend here and there.
Hmm.
But 5 years ago I didn't have it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but approximately, can you just guess? Like, was it? Now you said it happens. There's sometimes 10 hours a day,
Well,
but
I think less because
how?
now in Kaluga I have access to the internet almost everywhere. And while I lived in my small town, I didn't have it, so I had internet at home and nowhere else.
Uh-huh.
So I couldn't go to the park and scroll my Instagram page.
All
It
right,
wasn't possible.
all right. So you mentioned that you spend lots of time on YouTube. Can you tell me what kind of content do you consume from there? Like, what kind of channels do you watch, and why do you like it? What you don't like?
Yeah, it's not a secret. Well, mostly it depends. From time to time, I watch this, and another time, I watch that. I like to watch some videos about space.
Mm-hmm.
I like to watch something about physics and mathematics. I don't understand a thing there, but it it looks very
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. So I'm
Can,
interested in that.
do you have some special channels which you watch more often than others?
No, I don't think so.
How do you choose videos like which you are gonna watch? YouTube algorithms or
Yeah, now YouTube algorithms, but later when it wasn't so developed, I just Googled something I wanted to know something about. Yeah, so I mostly watch something about cosmos and space, and then maybe animals, something
mm-hmm.
about makeup, music, uh, sometimes history, and sometimes very very long lections or books because like it's easy to find on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So why not?
Have you thought about your own YouTube channel, like recording videos, maybe of linguistic language, whatever?
I have my YouTube channel.
You have your own
Yeah, I
channel. That's
have,
great.
but it's about makeup. I started running it in summer when I was very tired of quarantine and I
Uh-huh.
have a lot of time at home. And I thought I like makeup, I like painting my face basically, so why wouldn't I start my YouTube channel? But then I stopped because now I study, I have to go here and there, and I spend a lot of time on just walking, and then I started working, so I don't have much time for that anymore.
Uh-huh.
Maybe when I go to real work and I will not have to study like half of the night, maybe I will proceed with making videos.
But can you kind of combine both study and YouTube? I mean, you may just make a channel about what you study and.
You have to have some time for making a video and then
Mm-hmm.
to kind of, I forgot a word. So to do something with this video to make it look good and then upload. You can't just put a camera in front of you
Well, why
or
not?
record.
I do that certainly.
Because there is a lot of like and stuff, and I don't want that.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you just forget something and you think for 2 minutes straight
Yeah, but you
what are
may
you going
cut.
to say,
You
and
may
you cut it off, and
you may cut.
it
Yeah.
consumes some time.
Mm-hmm. So you need to spend a lot of time just preparing videos to make it for your audience.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it in Russian, like this channel about makeup?
No, it was in English.
In English?
In English.
Oh, that's great. How many subscribers did you have?
Oh, 16.
16. What do you think about attention? Like, I had this thought recently that, now we're kind of living in capitalism. Everybody's concerned with money. And I had this idea that in the future, the main currency is going to be attention. So you may just convert attention that you get from other people in all goods that you need for life.
You do it now. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Well, basically, you convert your attention into money because there are a lot of bloggers who just show their life, who just show their lives,
Uh-huh.
and they sell products. So some product maker called them and said, "Well, I have a great shampoo, for example. Could you please mention that you use it?
Advertise in your
Not
channel.
advertise, but just mention that you use it."
Uh-huh.
And you don't know how many stuff celebrities get just for free, and how great it is for advertisement to have a celebrity in there or any person who is kind of famous. So yeah, you basically convert your attention into money, and everyone, like mostly people, try to get attention because they know the more well known you are, the better you'll be in life.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about motivation. Like, how would you motivate people to study language? Do you have some ideas how to make, how to make people study, basically?
Well, sorry for my French, but motivation is bullshit.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in that at all. You either do something or do not. There is like motivation doesn't exist. If you really need to do something, you will do it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we all go to work mostly because we know that we need to earn money, otherwise, we will not have anything to live on. So we go to work. Are you motivated? No. Do you do this? Yes. So this is happens with everything. For example, you start doing sports. You feel very motivated because you just started. You feel great. You try to find out what your body can do, and it's kind of fun to do it first. You have great results at first, but then you get tired. You feel like, oh, maybe I will do sports the next day, not today, or maybe the next week, or maybe never. And it happens with almost everyone. Like, mostly people do like this. And the same happens with English. You start seeing results, you feel motivated, you feel
Mm-hmm.
great, but then German forms come in life, and you understand that English is kind of hard sometimes, or you see all these 23 tense forms and you're like, oh my god, why do they need that much? And your motivation goes to nothing. And this is a matter of discipline whether you proceed or not. So if you decided that on Monday, I don't know, and Friday you study English and you uh, do it according to your table,
Mm-hmm.
you will succeed. But if you're like, oh, I am not motivated today, you will not achieve anything. So, of course, there are some times where you feel like, I hate this freaking language, I don't want to learn it anymore. Wait like a week or two, have a break.
Mm-hmm.
This happens. Yeah, sometimes you really don't want to do stuff, but don't make it a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may pass on some like 2 3 days, or to just rest, to think that okay, this language is not that bad. So yeah, I don't.
Uh, what is the second language you study at university? Is it German?
Yeah, it is German.
How much time do you spend on studying German? And like, can you speak German now?
I can a little. It's not that good as my English, of course. I have been studying German for 3 years now. Well, it is very hard for me because at the university we studied German like once a week or
Mm-hmm.
even once in 2 weeks, and the gap was so big that you forgot everything you have learned the previous week.
You are not motivated at home to study German.
I am very tired.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I studied German for like 2.5 years for every day. I have my Duolingo app.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me to learn some new words and just to be in German.
Mm-hmm. How much? Like 10 minutes a day? How much time do you spend
Well, it
on
depends
German?
on my mood. Sometimes I don't want to do it at all, and I just like study for 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And some
Just to check,
days,
check, check, check your schedule, or
yeah, just to say that I'm good with that.
mm-hmm.
I'm a great person. I studied a little bit and go do my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can like spend an hour or even more in studying because I feel motivated. Not motivated, but I feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried to think in German?
Yeah, I try to, but it's quite hard because I don't know a lot of words, and it pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, when you know one foreign language, you feel like you're stupid when you start learning a new one because everything is new, everything is different. You have to start from a very beginning, and yeah, it just this is the question of motivation. I don't feel motivated at all
Mm-hmm.
because I feel stupid and I don't want to do this, but I know if I stop, I will not succeed. I will
So
not
you still
succeed.
continue a little bit just to keep up with a certain level, a small level which required for university or yeah.
Nah, yeah. Actually, a little bit is better than nothing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. But like in my case, for example, I try to study a few different languages like Chinese, German, Greek, Latin as well. But I always find myself like I don't have time for these languages because it always feels as if you sacrifice like in this case it's English. So I feel, oh, what the hell? Why should I study German if I may study English in the same time? And I'm studying like all the time, and kind of it stops me for studying new language. And also I want to kind of I'm a kind of perfectionist. So if I study German, I'm afraid that if I engage in studying, I'll just stop studying English and start thinking in German all the time and forget about English and Russian and other languages. Uh, can we talk a little bit about English-speaking community?
Sure.
I'm now working on this idea. Not even idea, actually, it's a real thing. Like, what do you think about English-speaking community? Is it possible to make something like that to get all English speakers who live in Kaluga and organize them in one community, like big one, 1,000 people
Well,
at
I
least?
think it is very hard to do. At first, I thought that this idea is not very great and it is impossible to maintain. But
Uh-huh.
now I think it may be possible, but it requires a lot of effort. You need a place, you need a time, and you need to know that at least someone wants to be a part of this. And I know people want to be a part of this,
Mm-hmm.
but like we are all grown ups, we have a lot of things to do. We have like job, we have studying, we have kids, and blah blah. And this stops a lot of people from coming to just English speaking clubs.
Yeah, sure.
And to create some kind of a community, well, it is a tough question. I don't know how are you going to maintain this, but
Yeah, but
if
it,
you do, I think it will be great.
I
I
think,
would participate in that.
okay, all right. I think, like, I don't have a special strategy. I have many like ideas and plans which I'm working on. Like this, for example, this podcast is one of that. English speaking clubs, writing some things on the internet, and on average, I think it's just a great idea. It motivates me to work. I don't think like, oh, this is a community. We'll have to build it like next year, a few years after. Just I may work on it for the rest of my life and see how it's gonna grow. If it grows, well, that's good. If not, I'm just study more and see what can I do to make it better, to make it grow.
Well, I believe you can try to just tell your people from English speaking clubs that there are other speaking clubs, and if you have the same amount of people going here and there, they would naturally know about each other. For
Uh-huh.
example, some people from my club, they have never been to your club, and some
Uh-huh.
people from your club have never been to mine. Well, some one of the reasons is because
You
they are in different days on different days, and for some people it is easier to come on Friday, for example,
uh-huh.
and for some
So I guess
people it's easier to come on
many
Sunday.
people who come to my club, they're listening now. So you may just invite them to your club if you
Oh,
like.
if they do so, yeah, please come Friday 7 o'clock every Friday at Nebo Anti-Cafe.
All right.
Yay.
Uh, if you don't mind, we may touch some philosophical questions.
Well, let us do.
Okay, some stupid question. What's the meaning of life?
To be happy.
To be happy?
Yeah.
What happiness means for you?
Well, as a great friend of mine says, happiness is something when you don't feel worried.
Mm-hmm.
And I may add the only thing that you don't feel worried and you have everything you need.
Mm-hmm. So basically, conditions, certain conditions of life, and probably feeling, right?
Hmm.
Do you think it's possible to be happy? They discussed poverty, poverty. They discussed poverty, and the question was like, is it possible to be happy and poor? And what would you choose, to be happy and poor, or to be rich and not happy?
Rich and miserable.
Yeah,
Rich and miserable then.
rich and
Well, I believe that a lot of problems are happening because you don't have enough money to solve them.
Mhm.
For example,
So
poverty, as you said.
money may be a solution for.
Okay, not for all of your problems, but for most of them. Well, you
Mhm.
don't feel worried when you have something to eat, when you have somewhere to live, and when you're free to go anywhere, everywhere you like. But, well, money is not everything you need in life. You need friends, you need maybe relatives, or I don't know, any people you can trust. And maybe, well, I think for me, this is enough.
Mhm.
Great friends and like the amount of money. which allow me to feel confident.
Mm-hmm. Big apartment, a car.
Well, just a nice apartment.
Okay.
Just a
Okay.
nice apartment will do.
Uh, the last but not least thing, education. Like, what do you think about education, and is it possible to, change our educational system so that many people who study English at school or at university just, you know, especially at school, because, as far as I can tell, now we don't have great educational system at school, and people who study language, they actually don't succeed, and very few people can learn language at school. Is there something that we can do?
I don't think so because like you have 26 people in a group
Uh-huh.
and English is like once or twice a week. How are you going to teach all these people? It's
Maybe
impossible.
maybe encourage them to study by themselves.
Well, you know, you like to study yourself something you're good in. For example, from the beginning of school, you were good in maths, and then it continued to be good while you were an adult, for example, and you like it. You studied more and more because you're good in this. You know that you will understand this and that. The same happens with English. If you start well, if you start understanding things, maybe your teacher was great enough
Mm-hmm.
to help you understand some things from the very beginning and you memorize them very quickly, then you will feel inspired and you will feel like, oh, this is a great subject, I want to study it. And you will.
Mm-hmm.
But if something went wrong from the beginning, it will well, you will need a lot of inner strength to continue doing this, and more strength you will need to push yourself into studying it outside of, I don't know, college, university, school.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe first thing you should say that things are not for everyone. So if you're good in this area, this is great. And if you're bad in something else, it doesn't mean you're stupid or you're a bad person. It means that you just don't like the subject that much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you just indulge yourself a little bit in something else, you will find out that this thing is actually very nice and interesting. But you have to decide for yourself whether you really need this or not. Some
Mm-hmm.
people don't need English. For example, if you're, I don't know, if you're a cashier manager
Mm-hmm.
and you like your job, you don't feel like, oh, I'm working in Petrochka, I hate it. You feel like you're alright, you like this job, you don't need English or something. But if you're working in like international company, of course you need English and it pushes you to study. And this is a matter of yours, whether you like to be successful in your area, then you will need to learn language. And if you don't want to be successful, or you want to stay somewhere where you're here now, then maybe you don't need that much and you don't have to study. Well, you don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
This is my point. And if you like doing something, please do.
Don't you have a feeling that English it's kind of trend now, and people just, for example, I have a car, right, and you don't have a car, and you look at me and that you kind of jealous. You also want a car, and with English it's kind of the same. So people speak English, like more and more people speak English, and those who don't speak, they kind of, they also want to speak, and it creates like, whatever.
I feel like it is a trend, but maybe because we now have an access to the internet and we see how many people speak in English, we see how much information you can get from English, and maybe people started to understand that English is kind of important in their lives, and they started learning it. And I'm happy that you do because I feel like English is very great. It's like relatively easy language to learn for our Russian speakers. So, and it helps your brain to work differently because, as I heard, a new language is your new personality,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree with that 100%. So, if you want to feel yourself as a new person, you can't feel yourself. Sorry. So if you want to feel,
No, you may say that actually. I researched this feel yourself, and I had a conversation with some person, and she told me that if you say feel yourself, it makes like jerking off. And
yes,
no, it's actually not. Many times I heard this like native speakers say it, and that's actually okay.
it's not it's not a norm. That's why you probably shouldn't. So all right. So my point was that if you want to feel like a new person, you must start learning a new language,
Mhm.
and yeah, it makes you feel, I don't know, kind of connected
Do
to
you think
something.
do you think that do you feel as if you had a kind of two personalities when you speak English or Russian? Are you a different person in these times?
I am different, but not that much.
Mhm.
Well, there are some topics in English which I know only in English, and when I start like explaining them to my friends who don't speak English, I find myself struggling because I just don't know these words in Russian.
Mhm.
I have no idea how they sound, and for me, it's kind of hard to understand and to translate. But my point is that I think that your personality is something you consume from your childhood. So anything you read, anything you watched, anything you've heard makes you. And in a new language, you choose new information, and you start consuming new information. And this part of yours is kind of a new one.
Mhm.
So you created your kind of new personality of the age you are in right now.
Like new information basically creates a new person in you,
Yeah,
right? Like new experience which you may describe only in this language. Of course you may translate it and describe it in a different language, but it feels kind of different
yeah, of
than the
course I'm
same.
not separated in two. I don't have any mental illnesses, but sometimes I feel like some topics are closer for me in English than Russian, for example, and vice versa.
Mhm. All right. So, would you give some tips for those who study language? And I guess this is the last question, and we'll end up here. Like
Well,
few tips to those who want to study language.
first, don't give up.
Uh-huh.
Listen to a lot of music. I don't know, find a TV show that you like and watch it with subtitles, English ones, and well, learn English.
Okay, so right. Irina, thank you too much for a conversation. It was really nice to talk to you. I
Thank you
appreciate
too.
that you came. Guys, subscribe to our channel, share like buttons, share the video, push the like buttons, and uh, that's all. See you next time.